Hello and welcome to August 2017's Attract Your Best Life member monthly teaching session. This is Becca Armstrong and I am so excited to be connecting with you here today. We have an earlier session, so good morning or good afternoon, whatever time of day it is in your corner of the globe. It is awesome to be sharing today's information with you. So let's jump in and get started. So this month, we have been enjoying and celebrating a meditation and self-care challenge, which we just wrapped yesterday. It doesn't matter when you're joining membership, you're invited into this 30-day meditation challenge. You can find the posts and information within the Facebook group, and we just invite you to enjoy this process, 30 days. Now, for members who participated, I want to invite you to keep on going. It doesn't stop or end at 30 days. Really, this is the beginning. We know in behavioral science, when we are creating a physiological behavioral change, changes occur sometime around 27 days. Sooner for some, later for others. So when you practice something consistently, over 30 days, you can actually anchor in a new subconscious program that influences or directs your behavior rather. So that 30-day challenge gave us the opportunity to get into a new subconscious habit pattern around meditation and self-care. And we're going to go deep into information as to why meditation and self-care are such tremendous tools. And then really today we're going way beyond. So enjoy continuing this process. Now, what do you do behaviorally if you're trying to create a habit and pattern and you miss a day? Not to worry. Just pick it up right where you are in that moment. And when it comes to self-care and meditation, it doesn't have to require time, or a magnitude of time is probably a better way to say that. So you could meditate for 30 seconds. Now, let me give you some information about why that actually is effective. I have been blessed to have a skeptical or curious mind. And while I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, which everybody says is its own planet, it's a very spiritual place. So meditation, I learned meditation when I was 8 years old. My sister learned it, my goodness, when she was 3. My middle sister learned to meditate when she was 5. They did what we call walking meditation. Some of you may practice walking meditation while you're on your walks or hikes or out and about in the world. And we were taught to meditate twice a day, 20 minutes for each sitting. And so this is the environment in which we grew up in, and it was just what you do. This was the paradigm that we grew up in. However, as I got older, I went to college, studied psychology. I was curious as to why meditation was so effective. So I wrote term papers on things like meditation and yoga, not because I wanted to prove that they worked. I just didn't understand them. So I wanted to really look at the science and look at what it is that was really occurring. I knew how it felt, but I wanted to see what science was able to give us as far as information. So when I moved into private practice as a psychotherapist and coach, I had neural biofeedback programs, computer programs. I still have them. As a matter of fact, some of you know that I coach volleyball. And last season, with the organization that I coached with, we brought in some of the neural biofeedback different programs that I have and played with them and used them with the athletes, some of our elite teams. They brought in a meditation practice on a daily basis, when they were at the gym. And they used these things to be able to see what was actually happening during meditation. So I was curious. I said, when does meditation click? When do you see the effect? When do you get it going? And honestly, I have seen clients in 10 seconds create this amazing shift. uh, 30 seconds. The fastest I've seen is 10 seconds, but 30 seconds, and I have actually had some fun having people meditate and do some meditation exercises for 3 minutes. And then we've monitored them over 24 hours. So they were in my office, they meditated for 3 minutes, they left my office, they came back 24 hours later, we wired them up just to see what was going on in their neural biofeedback and the energy systems that run their body-mind connection. And we were able to see that it was consistently still there. So they were able to create a state of coherence, a state of entrainment, which we're going to talk about today. And then it just because they were moving around in the world and no longer meditating, didn't mean that it went away. It was a beautiful, resourceful state that continued. And it only required, we had them do this for 3 minutes. The other thing is that with what we've been talking about in regards to resonance and entrainment, as I've shared, I work with couples. Sometimes they're married couples, sometimes they're dating, sometimes they're business executives. So it could be the CEO and the COO. So different types of relationships, but they're couples. They're in, a collaborative connection. And so I've wired them both up to see who's leading who and what happens in their neural biology and their neurobiofeedback with entrainment. So we'll have one of them connect in a resourceful state. And I've been able to watch their readings and their output in neural biofeedback shift. And so one will shift and then the other will shift. And in my training with somatic psychology and body-centered psychology, we learn to actually look at breath patterns and positions of body. And you can see couples when they sit together for just a few minutes, and I've clocked it, it's 3 minutes or less, that entrainment happens. And one person in a resourceful state will then lead the other and invite them into that resourceful state, not through consciousness, but through the nervous system, through systems of the body. So it's pretty powerful. So I just wanted to share that today because I wanted to let you know that I have been a skeptic when it comes to these things. I love it. I know the experience. These are things that I practice, but then I also want to see the science. I want to peel back the curtain and understand what's really going on. What does this feeling look like? So institutes and organizations such as HeartMath are phenomenal. Site K is doing a lot of work with us. I really appreciate Dr. Joe Dispenza, and we've got Bruce Lipton, who are really looking at the response of our body when it comes to frequency, it comes to thoughts, feelings, emotions, and it comes to subconscious programs. So if you don't know about any of those people and you need help on how to spell their names or you want to look up some information, please let us know. We'd be happy to connect you with the resources that we've been playing with. And the newest doctor that I think is doing some really fascinating work, and we've talked about it this month, is Dr. Bengston, Bengston. And he's studying energy medicine and he's studying energy healing. And he's a skeptic. Now, just to give you definition about skepticism is being free from drawing a conclusion. So Dr. Bengston, in his description of skepticism, and I'm going to give you a summary because we've got lots of things to cover here today. He doesn't believe in healing, but he doesn't not believe in healing. He's curious. He doesn't know, and he's done a lot of amazing studies. Worked a lot with energy healing in cancer, studying it in mice, now studying it in humans, and he's seeing this amazing effect. But he's working with the premise of skepticism. So when he speaks to doctors in environments and rooms where he comes on stage and they've all got their hands and their arms crossed, he knows that they're believers. They're not skeptics. Oftentimes people who don't believe something are framed as skeptics, and they're not skeptics. And I like that he offers this definition because, you know, if you are resistant to something, then you believe in its absence. You believe in its falsehood probably before you understand it. Now, if he goes into a room of healers who believe in healing, they are also believers. They believe in the efficacy and the effectiveness of what he's going to present before he's presented. So for him, he is a skeptic, meaning that he hasn't drawn a conclusion. He is curious as to what's going to happen, and he's okay if something happens or if something doesn't happen. So if healing occurs, he's curious about that. If healing doesn't occur, he's curious about that. Well, what he's discovered is it's 100% effective with the studies that he's done. So he keeps moving labs because he keeps seeing if there's some type of something going on in the lab because he's just curious as to what is actually working. This is just so much fun because we know the practice of this. As I'm going to present some things in our teaching call today that stem from our lesson, focusing on how to attract your best life, I'm going to guide you into hopefully what is intended to be a simpler process for manifesting what you desire. So we're going to release all of the complicated things that you think you have to do or be or shift, and we're going to get down to the simplicity that is really magnificently powerful. So I want to invite you to think about what it is that you're ready to attract and live that feels like your best life. What are you ready to attract and live that feels like your best life? And if you have paper, if you have something to write with, go ahead and write it down. What does this mean to attract and live your very best life? How do you know what that is? What is your measurement for it? How would you know that it occurred? So just write that down so that you have a focal point for your intention and attention during today's lesson. And once you have that written down, I want you to really just feel what that feels like as if it occurred now. And if it occurred now, what emotions would you be having? And jot some of those down. Would you feel peaceful? Would you feel relaxed? Would you feel excited? Would you feel angry? I don't know. Whatever emotion you would be feeling, write it down. And it's probably going to be a collection of feelings. And as you now have what you are wanting and desiring to attract that feels like living your very best life, and you have the emotions written down that you feel as you connect and imagine that, I want you to flip the piece of paper over. And I want you to write down what's occurring now, free of judgment. Just write it down. It might be blissful. It might be awful. Somewhere in between. Go ahead and write that down. I've had some clients who say, I don't want to write this down. I don't want to reinforce it. I don't want to give energy to it. Too bad. You're already giving energy to it because it's happening now. So let go of judgment, let go of resistance, just write it down. As a matter of fact, the not wanting to write something down is an indicator that you're holding it in place in your life. And I know I've been there. There are lots of things that I've gone to write down. I thought, oh gosh, I don't want to write this down. It feels terrible. And then I went, oh, okay, wow, I'm holding on to this. That's the indicator. So write down what's going on in your life right now. And write down the emotions, the feelings that you're experiencing. Maybe you're feeling stress. Maybe you're feeling worry. Maybe you're feeling excitement and elation, whatever it is that you're feeling. And just notice I'm giving you feel good, feel bad emotions for both. Actually, I've had several clients that when they connect with their very best life and the abundance and wealth and well-being that they desire, they feel scared and fear. So let go of any judgment about what feeling is present. Just notice it, be aware of it, write it down. Now, there's a reason why I had you write it down and on either side of this piece of paper. Because this is what we believe our life to be, which is law of opposites, polarity, the law of polarity. I can either have this now, this something that I'm living now that feels this way, or I can have this something that I want. And if I have this something that I want, then I'm not having this thing that I was experiencing now. And if I'm having this thing that I'm experiencing now, then I can't have this thing that I want. And we perceive them to be separate. It's simply a perception issue. So as you remember who you are, I want you to imagine that you're in the library of the universe. And you're standing there in front of an infinite wall of books. And you're holding this one in your hands that you call your experience now. And in this moment, you remember, oh, well, this is just the book that I selected. I selected this book. And I liked this chapter, but I'm not really enjoying this other one. And become aware that you can actually hold that book in your hand and you can actually grab another one down. You didn't even have to put the one that you were holding away. You can actually hold on to that one too. And you can open a new chapter of a different book. You can choose the book. You can choose the chapter. You don't actually have to read chapters in a linear fashion. You're told to do that. I don't know about you, but I pick up magazines and I pick up books and I often will read later chapters first. I say, where are we going here? I want to go there now. And then I'll hop around to different chapters that occurred earlier if I want. Or maybe I just read that later chapter and then I say, okay, I'm on to a new book. I don't want to read the earlier chapters. So just bring this image up in your mind. Because if you're an infinite being having a human experience, you really truly are limitless. But we experience life through our systems, through our programming. And that programming happens at an early age, prior to birth, all the way up to around 6 years old. And our subconscious learns and records these programs diligently but slowly. And it changes them slowly as well, unless we actually know how to access the subconscious. Now, who you really are knows how to access the subconscious. See, the subconscious doesn't own you. It isn't in actual control or in charge of you, even though you may have thought it was. It's just a computer, basically, that's running human being programs that it downloaded early on in life because it was what was available. The other thing I want you to do with your paper is paper, it can look linear, like it looks like a surface, a plane. I want you to pick up your paper and I want you to turn it sideways so it's vertical. make it vertical. Instead of horizontal, turn your page that you've written what you want and desire and then what's occurring now, and allow it to be vertical. Now, this isn't science fiction. This is science. We actually know that linear time is an illusion. It doesn't exist. And time is actually vertical. Now, what that means is that if time is vertical, past, present, future, all happening now, which means that you have alternate, infinite expressions of experience that are all happening now. So likened to the library, all of those stories in that library are omnipresent. They're going on right now. And you get to experience the one you pluck off the shelf, you open up, and you give your intention and attention to. I've been reading stories and I haven't enjoyed them, and my ego says, but you started it, so you better finish it. And my higher guidance says, out of alignment, put it back. So I've just returned it. I've downloaded Audible books, and a couple chapters in, or, something's off, and I return it. And my ego says, well, you should have finished it. Maybe there was something for you to learn later on in the book. And my highest guidance says, no, that was so out of alignment. Move on. So remember who you are. Because this month we're really helping you attract and live a life you love. And helping you move out of resistance and contrast. So let's talk about your infinite power. In a lot of coaching and a lot of spirituality, people talk about, life force and spirit and soul. And, I love my friend who's a doctor, and she says, I can do lots of things with bodies. I can turn them on. I can, keep them on when they're very injured. But there's something that she's discovered that she said, I've seen people who feel or who have this life force in them that probably shouldn't. Their body is so injured. And I've seen people who things seem to be mostly okay and the life force isn't in there. She said, and I can't figure out what that is. So I can do all these cool things with bodies, but I don't have the switch. I don't have that ability to turn on or off this energy life force. And it was pretty cool because before she became a doctor, she was kind of, what she would say, like an agnostic, like she just didn't believe in anything spiritual. And, she was kind of a non-believer. She wasn't even skeptical. She was just a non-believer. And it's been her experience as a doctor that's allowed her to say, there's something greater that is this beautiful energy force. So what we're taught to do during the ages of pre-birth to 6 years old is we're generally taught, and I'm saying generally because it doesn't happen always. It doesn't happen in all cultures, but we're taught to give our energy away. We're taught to be pleasing to others. So we'll do things so that we receive feedback from our environment that says, you're okay, you're worthwhile, you're lovable, I accept you. And when we're doing these things, we're giving our energy away. And then when people say, yes, you're lovable, you're good, you did it right, then that person or that environment gives the energy back. So we learn to give it away and then to try to get it back through what we think, feel, or do. We're trying to learn how to work the system. Because oftentimes, very early on, and I'm trained as a clinical hypnotherapist to work with children as early and young as 2 years old. And I have seen young kiddos that have these behaviors that are concerning to the adults. And it has a lot to do with the fact that they're trying to figure out how to get their energy back. Because from a very early age, pre-verbal, precognitive, before they're able to explain what they're doing. They're following the energy guidance, and they've been taught to give it away to a place where they're so deplete that they're doing anything and everything they can to get it back. And a lot of the time it looks like a disorder. And so we're taught to give our energy away. And that's why oftentimes we don't feel worthy. We don't feel good enough. We don't love ourselves. We feel deplete, and we feel like we've got to go somewhere and go and do something to feel better. And that if we only had our results, if we only had this life that we want to attract and live that feels like our best life, then we would feel the state of fulfillment. And that just gives us an indication that we've got a system going on that says, I give my power away, and then I have to get it back. And there are different ways that hopefully will work for me to get it back. Now, that's one way to do it. It's the way that we're taught. And I know that Judith Olaf, who is a PhD psychologist at Stanford, she's written a lot about what she calls energy vampires. You could be around people. I know people who are very sensitive to crowds and environments because it exhausts them and they feel depleted. And, I don't know if you have that one person or that, you can think of some people that, boy, when you're around them, whew, you feel wiped out. Like they just sucked the life out of you. And I want you to pay attention to that phrase that we at least utilize in the United States, because there's something to that. So power is another word for life force, for all of this beautiful infinite energy. Now, when we give it away, we separate ourselves from the infinite source, and now we become dependent on the energy forces around us, the people, to get it back. So with couples that I work with, you can actually see this where they're almost like vacuuming. I call it like hooking up vacuum cleaner, like vacuuming energy out of each other. Like, well, I'm pretty deplete, so you give me energy. Okay, now, the other person is deplete, so they have to get the energy back. And what happens is energy leaks out. And then the couple is deplete, and both of them are so depleted that they feel like they've got to go somewhere else to refill. So they've got to get away from each other to harness some new energy. And sometimes they bring it back to the couplehood and, go in the depletion process again, because they're trying to figure out, why do we keep going empty here? So your divine power is always available to you. And if you're getting it from your environment, then you separate from the source. And it can be a big deal, and our egos don't like it, to disconnect from getting it from people and going back to your source. It's really who you are. Because the ego says, wait a minute, this is how I feel worthy. This is how I feel in control. This is how I direct my environment. This is how I feel special. This is how I matter in the world. And you have a program for it. So, is it simple? Yes. Is it easy? No. Because you have to go outside the program. Imagine you're following GPS instructions, but there's a new road that was just built and just opened. Now you turn onto the new road because it really is a better way. But the GPS mapping hasn't gone there yet. So it tells you you're no longer driving on a road, and that you're whoop, 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 alert, alert, get back on the road. And you're on a road. It's the better road. But your GPS is telling you there's something wrong and you better get back onto the road. Well, it's an illusion. But boy, I've seen some people get back on the old road because there is no directions that can be offered to you from the new road. They haven't been mapped yet. So when you get on that new road, you get to figure it out. Is it a better way? Yes. Can someone tell you the better way? Maybe not, because they haven't been there yet. So when you let go of getting your energy and your power and your worth and your value from others, you allow yourself to realign with the source of who you are. And it will feel awkward, scary, out of sorts. And I've learned throughout the years that God, universe, divine, infinite source, whatever language aligns for you, works paradoxically. What I mean by that is what feels like the wrong path is often the path that's outside of your limiting program. And it is the right path. So what actually feels like safety could be the depletion. And what feels like depletion or scary can be the abundance. So let's talk about, how do you do that? How do you reclaim and realign with the source of who you are? And boy, that sounds complicated, right? Well, no, it isn't. So what I want to invite you to do is to remember that vertical time. Take your sheet of paper, just turn it vertical. So you've got all possibilities present, and you get to choose. And your choice is where you direct your energy. You direct the power that you are. It's who you are. And you can get it from yourself or others. And by yourself, I mean you can get it from the infinite being that you are. You can allow that oneness to be. Or you can get it from other people if they'll give it to you. So if you have been in a pattern of giving it to other people, the first thing that we want to help you do is to realign so that it flows through you. Because your power of choice is in this moment. And if you're reading a book like the metaphor that we started with from the Library of Infinite and you're not liking it, you can actually grab a new book. You can flip to a new chapter. You do not have to read it linearly, because all of those chapters are actually happening now. And you can actually choose the one that feels the best. When I'm listening to an audio, like a seminar or something that's on an audio recording, sometimes I'll just say, okay, and I turn it over, say, what's in my highest good to hear right now? And then I move the timeline on the audio to the place that I just move it to wherever I'm guided to go and stop. And I know that whatever it is that I listen to at that moment, rock star awesome. And I know it's my highest good. I don't listen to the audio oftentimes front to back, from the beginning to the end. Sometimes I start off in the middle. And I say, well, that's very fascinating. And then I might go back to close to the beginning. And then I might go to close to the end. And I hop all over the place. So what we're doing here is we're just playing with these rules, playing with these strategies for life that you may have been engaging. And our strategies oftentimes in our culture are linear. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. And I want to invite you to recognize that everything is now. So if you are experiencing something you don't want, you have power to choose something new. But it requires you have access to your energy. You see, energy is non-directional. Doesn't have a direction until you give it direction. Your intention and attention gives direction. But let's say you gave your energy away, your power away. And you're waiting for someone to give it back to you or for an environment to give it back to you. This is why, people will go to seminars, retreats. Now, there can be really awesome things that happen in seminars and retreats because there's something called resonance and entrainment. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But I'm really attentive to seminars and retreats that are exchanges, borrowing, bartering for energy. Because the energy you leave with may be someone else's, maybe, claimed from something or something else. And when you go out and you get back into real life, it goes away. And then you're dependent on finding someone else to get that energy from. And I want to empower you to allow your energy to come from the source of who you are. You don't need to get it from someone else. Someone else's energy isn't better. We're all oneness. Now, the idea of separation gives our intention and attention to being separate, which then creates our experience of being separate. So does it become a reality? It does. Is it the truth? No, it doesn't have to be. But it can certainly oftentimes become what we perceive our experience to be, and therefore we do experience it as our reality. So in this now moment here, I want to take you through a little bit of an exercise. And we're moving out of human being, how to be a human being strategy and process and protocol into really, really, really moving back into who you are. And back is a fun word because everything's happening now. So you're moving backwards and forwards and, it's all available to you right now. So when you're thinking and when you're feeling, remember, thoughts and feelings are seated in your subconscious mind. Studies will actually share that anywhere from 60,000 to 75,000 thoughts run through us each and every day. We think are originated from us. They're originated from our programming. And those 75,000 thoughts are thoughts that are patterned like our thoughts yesterday. And we're conscious of our thinking and our thoughts about 5% of our day, which means 95% of our day we're unaware. We're outside of conscious awareness of what we're thinking. So we're on automatic pilot. Now, during the 5% of our day where we're actually consciously aware of what we're thinking and we're being intentional, generally we're doing something simultaneously. So to do something simultaneously and be conscious and attentive to what you're thinking, you're multitasking, which means that your subconscious has to take care of what you're doing and has to do some of those things automatically. It's like, when you're out walking, maybe you're walking and you're thinking about something. Very interesting enough, I'm trained in a technique called EMDR, and it was discovered by Francine Shapiro while she was walking in Central Park. And it's a trauma protocol that works with the amygdala. And I know that this is all probably sounding like gobbledygook to you, but the key thing is that walking and looking back and forth actually accessed memory stores that were housing trauma. So it was giving her access, and it gives people access to their past traumatic experiences that they've got stuck, and then helps them process through. Now, it's an amazing transformational technique, and the amygdala is part of the subconscious storehouse. So here's the thing. When we're walking and we're thinking, we are accessing our subconscious. And our subconscious is making sure that we don't fall over and walk off the path while we're walking and thinking. So what happens is we are not in our now, we are in our subconscious program. Usually our past, usually our playful future, but we're outside of our now. So people will say, gosh, how do you change the subconscious? I'm actually going to share with you a few techniques that are even more dynamic. And this is a big deal for me to say as a hypnotherapist. I find them more dynamic and quick and effective than hypnosis and some of the other techniques. EMDR statistically, hypnosis statistically, requires about 8 intentional focused sessions to create a shift. Now, I've seen it happen in 1 session, and I've seen it happen in 20, some odds, I 2 years actually. So it's always going to be unique, but now we've got linear time kicked in. So there are a couple of techniques that are really fun that work with the energy systems that don't require time. Because our subconscious programs, in essence, create some linear type of experience so that it's almost like this map, and the sequence. Do this first, second, third, fourth. It's the program that says you have to read your book from chapter 1 to the final chapter. And the truth is, these techniques to shift and change the program don't require time, which is really fun. Do they require intention? Yes. And do they require power? Yes, they do. So the power of now. Here's the exercise. Right now, I want you to engage something that most people are trying to disengage, but I want you to engage your senses. So I want you to look around your room or your space, wherever you're listening at, and notice what you see. And it can be very helpful to call it out loud. So I can see my phone, I can see my computer, I can see my pencil, I can see my pen, I can see my day planner, I can see my water bottle, I can see my cup of coffee, I can see my hand cream. Now in that moment, I am giving my attention to what I see now. And that has brought me right here, right now. I'm going to do this with my ears. What do I hear? Well, it's very quiet in my office. But if I'm really quiet and I listen, I can hear an airplane outside. I can hear a very soft hum. It's a strange thing to say, but I can hear the silence. I can hear my stomach. So now I want to turn my attention to what I can feel, what I touch. I've got my hand on my coffee. I've got my hand on my desk. And I can now touch my computer. I can touch my phone. I can touch my pencil. I could write something down. So where is my attention right now through the 5 senses? I can feel my feet. So I'm touching my shoes through my feet. My feet are curling my toes and I can feel my shoes. So I want you to do the same. Do the same right now. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you taste? I can take a drink of my coffee right now and really, really, really taste it. I'm right here in this moment of my senses now. Now here's the power. When you're in your senses now, your experiences are created now. They're created, creation is flowing to you and through you, if you allow it. And what is manifesting in your life is actually manifesting now. So here's the thing. In this piece of paper that you've written what's experiencing now and what you want and desire, they're both present right here. They're both present right here. So to bring you into your alignment with your power, go through your senses. Get yourself right here in this room right now. What's occurring right now? And people say, well, this is kind of boring. No, I understand, because it takes you outside of your subconscious programming. And it brings you into the infinite omnipresence of now. And it gets you out of false power or depletion power or dependent power, and it brings you into your power right here, right now. Notice how your now is. Notice the feelings of your now. Really get into your now. It's likely you'll notice you feel peace now. You feel relaxation now. You feel joy now. You feel excitement now. Just notice your now. And see your power to choose, your power of intention, your power of attention is in now. So I want to invite you to stop intending for something to happen soon. Stop intending for something to come and manifest in your life in the near future. I want to invite you to look for the feeling of it now. You may not see it with your eyes, but notice what you do see with your eyes. And I want you to actually, in your environment, look for the indication of what you desire now. Look for it now. Now, here's the thing. I know exactly what feels so good for me and what I'm intending and manifesting. And if I look, here's the thing. The slide that you're looking at, that color feels so beautiful. It feels like truth to me. It's a peaceful color. My water bottle is half empty because I had a great workout this morning. It's a huge water bottle. And I feel so awesomely hydrated. And I feel right now my muscles are so awake and so alive and so happy that my body is like, I am loving this now. So that taps me into this now of feeling strong, feeling clear, feeling aligned, feeling peaceful, feeling truthful, feeling resourceful. I've got coffee that I just love. Oh my gosh, it tastes wonderful. It smells wonderful. If I look here on my desk, I'm seeing, oh my goodness, all of my needs in this moment, all of my needs are met right here, right now. And I'm intentionally giving my attention to what is happening right now. Now, let's say you're looking at your environment and you're saying, there is a problem here in this now. I'll tell you, it's funny today. Actually, it was funny to my husband, like within minutes of it happening. It took me a while, like to feel the funniness of it. But I was definitely in the now. I was doing something in my office yesterday. And I was actually moving this beautiful sari that a client gave to me. And I had a candle on my desk. And I honestly, my hair has become very long, as you've probably seen. And this candle on my desk was lit. And I didn't realize that if I just leaned back to fluff and move this sari, that my hair actually was long enough to hit this candle. So I lit my hair on fire and I started going, what is smoking and what is stinking? And I don't know if you've ever smelled burnt hair, but it's not a good smell. And all of a sudden, and there were these little sparky things flying out. And I thought, oh my gosh, my hair is on fire. And I was so in the now in that moment, there wasn't something going on that I enjoyed. It was like a chapter that I wanted to wrap up. So immediately I just started, batting my hair and putting it out. And I have so much hair and it's so long, you can't tell. And it felt like it must have been a minute that my hair was burning, but it was really probably, a few seconds because I was so in my now. Now that was a problem. And I couldn't have solved the problem in the past and I couldn't have solved the problem in the future. I had to solve that problem right in the now. And that's where the solution was. Now, how did I know I needed to put my hair out? My hair was on fire, and I didn't feel aligned with fire and hair. So I knew exactly what to do in that moment. Now, I didn't know that it was going to become a teaching resource, but it has, because you always know what to do in the moment. And when you're trying to figure out what to do in a future moment, you have to take yourself into your past, which is to take your power out of now and to direct it into a past experience, maybe that didn't serve you. Try to figure out what went wrong in that situation that you've already solved, but clearly you're holding on to the separation from the solution. And then you're trying to connect with the solution to bring it into a future potential that is not actually happening now. And we wonder why we get so tired. And then somebody shows up while we're doing this and has this like real high, awesome vibration. And we exchange some energy and we borrow some energy from them because, you know, they've got a program that says, if I have energy, I should give it away. And then we feel better. But we still feel outside of safe in our now. Why? Because we're not now. We're in our past. And we're trying to project our past in an altered state into our future. That's not how it works. So bring your intention into your now and look around. And if there's a problem, like your hair on fire, like mine was yesterday, put it out. Don't put it out in the past. Don't put it out in the future. Put it out now. And then look around and see in your now, you're safe. You're okay. Your needs are met. Now, here's the important thing. This resource that we brought up in the meditation exercise, where we did, I talked you through bringing your attention to your heart, putting your hand on your heart, perhaps opening your awareness of your heart space, and then breathing in and out and sending love to divine, because you are divine. You're an infinite being, a divine being having a human experience. So you can believe yourself to be separate, which is how you come to know yourself, because you're not really separate. But the workaround is, if you're not really separate and you're sending love to divine, you're really sending love to your true self, who you really are. And so what it does, which is super cool, is it rewires your subconscious program by utilizing your subconscious program. That's the other thing I want to highlight. It uses the subconscious program to give your energy away, to you. So it closes the loop. It takes the law of polarity, where you have perceived separation, the have and the have not, and it connects it. Because the have and have not are really the same point. They're just different expressions. So if you're sending love to yourself, or love to divine, and divine is you, then you're sending love to yourself and you've closed the loop. And you've also utilized the subconscious program of giving your energy away to give your energy unto you. So this is a love exercise, because the closest word that we have to infinite life force is love. That oneness, that connection. And so this state of love. Now, one of the exercises that you can bring is, if you're having a hard time feeling love to send to universe or source or divine, you can actually remember something or an experience that you had that you melted in appreciation. You know, so I remember holding my girls for the first time and seeing them. I mean, I felt them, and, you know, I had this connection when they were, you know, in utero, but boy, just to see them and hold them, it just melted me. And so it's a state of appreciation I wasn't grateful for them as much as I appreciated them, because they didn't need to do anything. Gratitude is usually for something, and appreciation really is this state of just a love. I appreciate you just because you are. And so you can think of an experience and take yourself into an experience that you've had. And, yes, are you utilizing your past to stimulate a feeling? Yes, you are. But then you just take this feeling now, because the feeling really is happening now. Just take this feeling and now send it to divine. And what happens is you're in this feeling now, sending this love now, and receiving it now. And the cool thing is, in my study of this exercise, it doesn't matter if you feel yourself receiving it. It doesn't matter if you consciously say, yes, I'm divine. It doesn't matter if you believe it. It just is. It just is. And after you do this, what's happening is that you're rewiring a subconscious program, and you'll feel it click in. And pretty soon you may not have to remember your appreciation experience. Pretty soon you're just able to call forward love and send it to divine. And then you'll notice this even greater transformation where all of a sudden you just call forward love and you feel love. Not because you earned it, not because you're worthy of it, not because you deserve it, just because you are. So these states of being, love, compassion. Compassion is amazing because we focus on doing gratitude journals and appreciation journals, which is an attempt to utilize the system of giving our energy away to connect us in this high vibration. This love exercise that I'm sharing with you allows you to utilize that system, but instead of giving it away and reinforcing the giving it away to others because or for or something, it allows you to send and receive it to yourself and reestablish your oneness and your awareness and your presence with your oneness. Now, when you do that, there's a state that becomes very, well, it will become easy, but it becomes easier and easier and easier. And it's a state of compassion. Can you feel a state of love and compassion for someone experiencing something that you don't like or you don't understand? And so without depleting your energy and trying to fix it for them, can you honor what it is and allow it? Can you allow it? Free of entanglement with it. That's compassion. And compassion is a beautiful, beautiful state of love free from attachment. And it's also love without having to give love away. And it works with the process of entrainment. So we have the ability to polarize and separate, have and have not, or move into oneness. So I'm either experiencing what I'm experiencing now, or I'm experiencing what I want and desire. What if it's, you know what? In this very moment, all possibilities are present for me. All potentials are present for me. And so I can be experiencing in this moment this experience, and I can choose this experience. And it doesn't require time to shift it. You see, I can be in my office here and I can go from a connection with boredom, or I could go to a connection of pure abundance where all of my needs are met. Now, both of those are available right here, and I can choose because all of my power is here. So the love exercise will reconnect you with your power being present and available to you in every moment, where you're no longer outsourcing it or insourcing it from others or to others. So now you're connected in your oneness with your source. And you can choose where to direct this energy. And in this very moment, if you are experiencing something that you don't like, you address it now. And you shift it now into something that meets your needs in a higher, greater, higher vibrational way. Now, how do we know we've moved into a higher vibration? We feel it. They've actually, goodness, I'll post it. What is it? It's, his name is, goodness, his name, it's like Jeeves, or goodness, it starts with a J, but you pronounce it differently, as a Y. I want to say Yi, and I'll look it up. But he he was an artist and a musician and all this cool, lots of different things. Anyway, he studied vibration, and he studied patterns of different different modalities, like sand and dirt and flour and just different things. He mapped out energy, and he mapped out low frequency and high frequency. And being an artist, he was able to show them and to show the configurations. And what he discovered is that lower vibration has a very simple design to it, a simple, organized pattern. And the higher the frequency, the more ornate or complicated the pattern gets. Now, here's the cool thing that I want to give you guys as a takeaway is that if sometimes the higher you're starting to vibrate, the more complicated life seems to feel at first. And so it's just letting go. It's basically saying the programming I have for being a human being can't read that higher frequency. So what do? I'm going to show you that in a moment. So the lower the frequency, the more simple the pathway, the simple the design, simple organization pattern. The higher the frequency, sometimes the more, he showed it consistently, that the pattern gets more complicated. So a higher frequency snowflake is going to be more ornate than a lower frequency snowflake. The other thing that's pretty cool is that we live in a state of oneness. And oneness in science can be studied as a hologram. And holograms, I'm not going to get into the details of this, too extensively, but a hologram basically says that any hologram is a complete pattern of something larger. So the entire pattern for something is present in the hologram. So the hologram is like a smaller version of the larger version, and it's the same. But the thing that's so cool is you have hologram within hologram within hologram within hologram. And they're really learning, is there a limit to the larger? That's when we say infinite. We're a human being, but we're an infinite being having a human experience. So if we think about ourselves like a hologram, as we've talked about in previous lessons, you can change something in one part of the hologram and the entire pattern changes. Now, they've studied this with snowflakes. You can actually clip, a tip off of a snowflake, and the entire pattern of the snowflake changes. So when you change something, you change everything. But so often we try to change what's outside of us. We don't realize if we change our vibrational pattern, our entire world changes. This is entrainment. So I want to give you another resource rather than giving your energy away. The resource is when you're sending love to divine, sending love to yourself in the state of love, your vibration is going to be shifting, and it's going to be shifting up. This is a process of entrainment. There's no limit to how magnificent or big the magnitude of your energy. It's not contained in your human body. We know that. We can actually measure it. We just don't have sophisticated devices to determine if there's an end to your energy or not. Now, can you bring it close and make it small? Can you make it big? Sure, you can play with it. You move energy around with intention and attention. But so often, we try to give energy away to fill somebody up, to make something better, so they'll give it back and make us feel better. In this moment, in this now, you have infinite choices, infinite power, infinite life force flowing to you and through you. And when you focus on all of my needs are met, and you really focus on what is happening now that is aligned with what you want and desire, you let go of time and space, and your energy goes up. I don't know if you've ever heard of somebody singing, or somebody laughing, or even seeing somebody smile, but it's an increased vibrational pattern. And then you feel like smiling, and then you want to sing, and then you want to laugh, and you find yourself singing and laughing and smiling. It's not that they are smiling for you. It's not that they're laughing for you. It's that you feel the vibration and you say, ooh, I want to turn that on in me. So you don't have to give your energy to someone else to make it better for them so that they'll give it back to you and make it better for you. You can actually dial yourself up by being in your now, dialing yourself up now and saying, okay, what is it that I want on this side of this paper that is my best life now? And where can I feel it, see it, access it now? Now, if I look on my desk, everything that I need right in this moment in my life is right here. And boy, oh boy, that feels peaceful, that feels joyful, that feels truthful, that feels amazing, that feels wonderful. All of my needs are met. And you know what? Let's say I was thirsty and I wanted some water, and I looked to my water bottle and it was empty. Now. And I say, well, to feel like, what do I need in this now? What do I need? Water. Okay, what am I doing now? Getting water. Now, is that me meeting my need? Yes. Now, the way that energy works, and if you want, Dr. Bengston actually has really done a great job of, in his studies and experiments, seeing how energy moves. We talked about it in this monthly lesson. It's autonomic. It moves towards need. It doesn't follow will as freely as it. Can we will energy? Can we move it? Yes. But will, it's kind of funny, but energy moves to the need. But if we block our need and we say, no, I will not allow my needs to be met because my needs aren't that cool, they aren't that glamorous, they aren't that great. You know, I don't want the $800. I want the $8 million. So I'm going to focus on the $8 million and say, no, 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 I'm not giving energy to the 800 because the 800 isn't as good as the 8 million. Well, in that moment, we've just log jammed our energy because the energy flows towards need. And if you need $800 and you say, no, I'm blocking that. Now you've blocked energy. It's flowing toward the 800. And if you allow yourself to say, I'm meeting all of my needs, all of my needs, all of my needs, all of my needs, I'm meeting them. Yes, 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 yes. And you're in a state of fulfillment because your needs are met. Your needs will expand and you will find that what feels like a need is actually what used to be a want. Because pretty soon, as you dial up, boy, oh boy, oh boy, the 8 million actually isn't a want, it's a need because it's that higher frequency. You've scaled yourself up, whoop, entrainment. So what I wanted to empower you in this session today, again, is to let go of what your program, your subconscious program, or your ego thinks of your needs. Because they'll probably tell you on some level, they're not important, they're not good enough, and you know, the rising tide raises all ships. So if you just focus on the higher want, your need will be met. I'm just wanting to share with you what energy does autonomically It flows. It's drawn toward need. If you cut your hand, your body's energy will flow to it to heal it immediately. The moment it is injured, the energy moves to heal it. That's how you're built. And it doesn't matter if you're healing a cut on your hand or you're healing a need in your life, whether it's financially, relationship, health, doesn't matter. This is the way that energy moves. So allow the energy in just pure love, compassion, appreciation, gratitude to flow to your need. Yes, yes, yes. All of my needs are met. You know what happens when needs are met? Energy dials up. You've been trained. And it flows towards the next highest need. It flows towards the next highest need. So you don't actually consciously have to be so controlling of it. Your energy, as you allow it to flow and meet your need, and as you're present in this moment saying, what is it that is resonating with what I want and desire and what's happening right here, right now? And you give your energy to it. And if there's a problem, you fix it now. And you bring your alignment to it now. What happens is this amazing unfolding, like a flower blooming. And what happens is it comes from a process of letting go of control, letting go. If you look at a cut and you try to figure out how to heal it, you slow the healing process down because you don't have a conscious or a subconscious program for healing that is more efficient than life force itself. The infinite, omnipresent life force that you are, it's the most efficient ever. So you don't have to know what it is. That's the other thing that is so cool. You don't have to know how wealth, well-being, abundance, manifestation, healing is occurring for it to occur. And consciously, subconsciously, you don't have to have a program for it. What allows your magnificence to show itself to you is to let go. Be in this now, be in this moment, and give your energy to what you want and desire now. So I invite you all to play with this. Be playful on a daily basis. Give yourself a gift of even a few seconds of sending love to divine, or allowing yourself to feel the oneness of the love that you are, total life force. When you see someone that's in pain, can you go into love yourself? Can you be in a state of compassion for them, which is love, free of rescuing, judgment, or giving your energy there? Just dial it up in you. Can you focus your intention on well-being that is present for you now, that is present for them now? And in this beautiful process, allow yourself to be very mindful and in train up. Meet all of your needs. If you've got things going on in your life that require well-being, allow and let go so the energy can flow to it. Love, 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 love. Let the energy flow to it. Celebrate it. Nurture it. Be in the now, in the celebration of it. And allow this energy to continue to dial up and flow. You see, the reason why we slow things down and we experience this thing of delay or time is because we put our power everywhere other than now. And then we give it away, we separate from it, then we demand it or, really have to have it from others. And it's this state of lack. And we go from this oneness and being able to choose whatever it is on the library of life that we want to experience and to be in the state of choice in every moment, to living in the or, like I'm having this, so I can't have that, and I have this or this, but not this and this. I've actually hurt myself And then I've ended up in a state of laughter. I think, when you tickle someone, and they say, oh, it hurts, but they're laughing. You're having pain and pleasure all at the same time. There's choice, and you're empowered with choice. So play with this. Let go of all judgment, let go of criticism, let go of having to do this perfectly. Play in this. And when you don't know what to do, be in your now. Notice what's aligned with your needs and your wants now. Feel love. And then let go of everything else. And know that you don't have to understand how it's going to come to be in a better state of expression. But just know that you have the ability to choose the expression you desire. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I look forward to hearing feedback from you. Share your insights, share your experiences, anything that you get stuck on. Ask a question, prepare your questions, send them over to us at support@BeccaArmstrong.com for our upcoming coaching session in a couple of weeks. And just know that you are absolutely amazing. And the intention of Attract Your Best Life and membership is to really connect you in this infinite beautifulness that you are, help you re-access and tap back into the oneness of your power, and really, really have a lot of fun in life. Not through outsourcing, but through who you are. Because you're the greatest. And I know that. All right. Take abundant good care. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.